I've learned a lot from Pastor Kevin, but probably one of the first things I learned and one of the best things was that no matter how old you are, it still feels good to get a gold star when you do a good job.
In a meeting, sometimes I might get a little spirited on my presentation with the folks in the room. I mean well, but Pastor Kevin tends to be reserved and calm and quiet, but you better know that the next time he says a prayer that it's going to include maybe we should control our tone.
When Pastor Kevin was interviewing me to come to Valpo first as a visitation pastor, he said, let's meet at Culver's, okay? So I went to Valpo Culver's and he went to the Chesterton Culver's, and then next thing I know he's calling me, where are you? And then he tells me, well, I always meet Pastor Lowell at the Chesterton Culver's. Well, how do I know that?
What's brown and sticky? A stick.
The most recent dad joke I've heard was on a card that the staff gave Pastor Kevin, and this one actually stumped Pastor Kevin. It said, I was going to tell a joke about retired people, but none of them worked. Ba-dum-bum.
What do you call someone who tells dad jokes but isn't a dad? A faux pas.
What's blue, but it's not very heavy? It's light blue.
Why do people have to be quiet in church when the pastor's preaching? Well, there are people sleeping, so we don't want to wake them up.
Always appreciate his jokes, and I've appreciated more his leadership here and his support that he's given to me with the sound booth team and also the staff, and just being a great presence in our church. And I probably heard his sermons more than anyone here, since I always have to be here to record and run the sound. So really appreciate all his sermons on exploring our faith and all the questions we have about it. So it's always insightful to me, and I know it's helped me with my faith. So I will miss his sermons and his messages, and I'm always liked having him here at church and will be missed. So,
what do you appreciate most about Pastor Kevin? You know, your boss.
Kate, she's a great person. I love her.
Probably one of the things I most appreciate about Pastor Kevin is that he is very calm and thoughtful. So there was never a crisis or a big upset. He would take his time and we would work through things. So everything was calm and steady and easy. And I appreciate that very much.
As a boss, I appreciate Pastor Kevin's sense of humor, his work ethic, and his advice. As a pastor, I appreciate his versatility. He married one of my sons, he confirmed another, and he buried my husband. So our family will never forget you, Pastor Kevin.
I think what I really appreciate about him is how he supports you in leadership. I mean, ever since I've been director of children's ministry, he has supported me above and beyond, what I could ask. He's there for you when you're feeling low and you don't have those numbers. He's really understanding. I mean, he's there for you with the task. I mean, I can remember a couple of times at Messy Church, I had all kind of supplies. Not only did he help get them together, he packed them up, he put them in his car by himself and Liz, and then they brought them to the church. Well, that was a lot. But then he had to unpack them and put them up. I call that support.
I do have to thank Pastor Kevin. He's a wonderful senior pastor. Before I came to Valpo, I always said I'm never going to serve under a senior pastor again, but he was the exception. So thank you, Pastor Kevin. Blessings to you and Liz on a wonderful retirement, and thank you for these 4 years that we did have working together. God bless you both.
When I left the previous church, I swore I would never work for a church again. And then I got the phone call that they were looking for somebody here. I came in, I met Pastor Kevin, decided that eating was more important than my pride, so I took the job, and it's been amazing ever since. I have never worked in a church itself that was so supportive, but at the same time having a head of staff who just let me do my job. It was refreshing and exciting, and it just let me blossom and grow even more.
One of the things that I appreciate about Pastor Kevin is how he pushes us. When he first hired me, he said, I'm going to push you, and he certainly has. But I appreciate the fact that he continues to push us, even though here in recent days, he's pushed us to do things and to get better, even though it has nothing to do with him really anymore. And that just shows how much he cares about us as a church and us as a staff, that he's continuing to push us. So I really appreciate that.
I hate to tell you, but that's just you. He doesn't push anybody else.
I'm the only one he's been pushing?
Hate to tell you.
Well, that changes everything.